Looks like it's about a couple minutes past. We're going to get started. Anyone who jumps on late, this webinar is going to be recorded, so you'll have the opportunity to reference it later. Also, I'll mention a few times tonight here, I guess midday, morning by all you fine folk on the West Coast, and thank you for spending part of your Sundays and joining us here. We'll be sending out also summary emails with the most basic information that you need ahead of MedEx Los Angeles. So first of all, I'd like to start again thanking everyone for spending your time with us today in preparation for this very exciting production that we're going to be putting on in LA, bringing the best of the Israel medical system straight to your door. Most of all, I'd like to express my thanks to Efrata Flalo. She represents the Physicians Olim Directorate at the Aliyah Ministry, a key partner to the International Medical Aliyah Program, together with Nefesh B'Nefesh and the Ministry of Health. I'll give her the floor here just to introduce herself, introduce a little bit about what the Physicians Olim Directorate does at the Aliyah Ministry, and you'll be hearing a whole lot more, if you haven't already, about her department. They'll take a key role, not just for all of your licensing and employment process, but also they'll be there at MedEx. So in kol hakavod, Efrat, please go ahead.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
It's kind of weird not to see you, but I hope I will meet you all in LA soon. And come look for me, I'll be there. So as Joey said, my name is Efrata Flalo. I'm the head of the Physicians Directorate in the Ministry of Aliyah and Integration. The Directorate is a joint venture of the Ministry of Health and Nefesh B'Nefesh and our ministry. And the purpose is to see how the government together with Nefesh B'Nefesh can do anything to help you to help you come to Israel and make the entire process of your integration a little bit more easier. I know it's not easy. I think of myself trying to move to another city, another country, close to me, another city, and inside Israel. I know it's very complicated, but our purpose of all of us together is to help you in the process and make it a little bit more easier. So we are sitting in Jerusalem, in Israel, and we are working on the process of Aliyah together with Nefesh, and after you make Aliyah, we will help you with everything else. Just before that, I just wanted to mention that we are also organizing Hebrew courses, professional Hebrew, terminological Hebrew especially for physicians. We've just started 2 weeks ago an English group, and 1 week ago a French group, and we are planning to open another group. So I hope maybe after you decide if you want to come or not, if you open Tik Aliyah, you will also be able to participate. It depends on the Hebrew level, but the ministry, the Physicians Directorate is in charge of the professional Hebrew, but the ministry itself is giving also basic Hebrew courses online that you will be able to start before you make Aliyah. So I'll explain more to those of you who will be interested. So come to me and I'll explain a little bit more about that. That's called the Hebrew Bite. It's a special program that we have developed in the office, in the ministry. And once you make Aliyah, we will contact you and we will escort you and we will help you with together again the licensing and the specialized process. Together we'll be on that. We'll be also helping you get those, and Joey will explain a little bit more that part will be easier. And besides that, the entire integration process, the entire the family, entire family, the entire holistic package that you come with, your children, if you have any special needs regarding also helping you. I'll try to answer any other questions that you have aside the licensing process. I also want to mention that we are working very hard on getting special grants for physicians that will come to work in the Negev or Galil, work and live. If you come to work, that's a program that we have just finished for 2024, but we're planning to get on with this program also in 2025. I cannot assure right now exactly what's going to be the grant, but I hope it will be also relevant for you who will come in 2025. Those it's really nice grants, personal grants for those who will come to work or live and work in the Negev or the Galil. We also have special grants for physicians specialized in physical medicine and also for forensic medicine. If some of you are interested in that, maybe if you don't have specialty and you want to do one, so if you come to Israel and you decide, then we will help you to get to that. We are helping physicians to find work in Israel, in hospitals, in the community. We have a shortage in physicians in Israel, as you know. That's the main purpose of, I should have started with that, but that was the main purpose of the entire program, of the entire venture. There's a great shortage of physicians in Israel, and it's going to be even more, it's going to worsen in 2026. There are a lot of reasons for that, but I will not tell you everything. It's like for a lecture, for an 1 hour lecture. But we need you. Israel needs you. We are very happy. We are very happy that you're here, and we will be very happy to meet you in LA. Prepare the questions, come with everything you have in mind, things that you have thought about once you want to know about. We'll give you the entire information regarding everything you need. So come look for me. I will also write you we will send you some letters before, and there will be my email also if you want to contact before or after. They'll be a little bit more easier for you. So good luck. Thank you, great partners, and thank you all of you, and see you in 3 weeks.
Thank you so much, Efrat. As you can hear from her, there is a bevy of resources available to you all. All you physicians and other medical professionals that have logged on today that are planning your aliyah, that are planning on coming to MedEx, represent an answer to a huge national need, a need for the state of Israel, for the Jewish people. You're part of this elite corps that we've come together and joined forces, Nefesh B'Nefesh, the Israeli government, and all of our partners to solve. To get straight into it, number one, a good opportunity. We're 23 people on this MedEx LA Prep Zoom. If you know anyone else, if you have any other friends who might benefit from attending MedEx LA, tell them to register the same way that you did. This is still open for people to attend. We want to see as many people as we can. We want to help as many people as they can, whether you're planning Aliyah in 1 year, 2 years, 8 years, it doesn't matter. There's something to gain for everyone. And so we're going to be approaching just talking about MedEx LA today from kind of a large perspective. Everyone who is going to be attending, no matter your Aliyah plans, whether immediate or not immediate, whether you're a physician, whether you're another allied medical health care professional, this MedEx Prep Zoom is going to be relevant for you. And for the most part, a lot of the information, a lot of what we're discussing is relevant for those of you who are trained and licensed in the United States and Canada. We understand there might be people joining us today who aren't, who maybe are trained in outside of the country, only licensed in America. Something I'd like to get across is that for everyone, for any question, number one, feel free to put your question in the question and answer section, not the chat box. That way one of our staff, one of our advisors who's on the Zoom session will be able to answer your questions. And of course, you'll be receiving our contact information via summary email at our website. And we're fully staffed, ready every day of the week to answer your questions, and we'll address your specific situation soon. Now, before we get into the boring nitty-gritty, just to give you a taste of what to expect, this is a great video we put together showcasing a MedEx in the past, and I hope you all enjoy. So let's get that started for you. Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, Joey, I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and skip the video. I'll send out a link to the video in our follow-up email. Sometimes technology is with us and sometimes not, so we'll keep going.
My apologies, everybody. It's a great video. We're going to send it out. You have all the reason to get excited. We have other videos ahead of MedEx coming out on social media. Like, share, subscribe, and get into it. So here is, in a nutshell, the why. What is MedEx and what kind of a product is it bringing to you to make your whole planning and bureaucracy ahead of making Aliyah as medical professionals easier? We're bringing Israel to you in a nutshell. We're bringing together all of the partner organizations of the Israeli government that are involved in the licensing transfer process for you to your door. Before the International Medical Aliyah Program, before MedEx, it was a more complicated process, a runaround of having to come to Israel, visit these government ministries. It's coming to LA, and you're all going to be there. We hope to see you there. That is for the licensing process to apply to obtain your Israeli medical license with the Ministry of Health, to get your specialty recognized. That is to petition the Israeli Medical Association that acts as a medical board here in Israel, so that you can transfer your credentials as specialists for those physicians who are specialists who are listening today, as well as the employers. We're bringing the gamut of Kupot Cholim, the HMOs, and the public funds, the Israeli hospitals, public and private, as well as the two leading urgent care facility providers, Terem and Briuta. All are going to be in representation, either in person or through virtual interview, or some kind of an interface that we're going to bring to you. Everyone's going to be there. This is an opportunity to meet with all of them, to answer your questions, and to do the practical bureaucracy that's going to bring a lot of ease to your Aliyah planning process. So you know that when you land in Israel, you'll get started as licensed medical professionals as soon as possible. Now, a few things about what's going to be at MedEx itself. Number one, it's a full production. Now, this is going to be happening, and I'll mention this again, the same day of Nefesh B'Nefesh's Aliyah Fair. For those of you making Aliyah from the United States and Canada, it's not just a one-stop shop. It's a call it a mega one-stop shop. You can get done everything you need for your medical licensing needs, your employment needs as medical professionals, and everything else related to your Aliyah process. I would imagine that many of you have already started your Aliyah process, might have a Nefesh Aliyah advisor. This is a great time to get not only interface with our staff, but practical answers for everything. These are two timelines that could be complicated, both applying for Aliyah and relocating to Israel, on top of the medical licensing that we're coming to assist you with. So great opportunity to get it all done. For those of you who are coming just to take care of the basic licensing application needs, that is bringing in your original documents. We'll get into documents very soon. And meeting with the Ministry of Health takes about an hour, give or take. There are ways to save time ahead of time. We'll get into that too, about how to make the most of your preparation. But it's a full day experience. You know, you can be here for 2, 3, 4 hours networking with your colleagues, asking questions about people who are moving to X place or Y place, and of course, speaking with all of the providers that are going to be, headhunting, recruiting at this event for medical professionals from across the Israeli medical system. And very importantly, as Efrat opened up this session and explained, Misrad Klita will be in attendance, the physicians, Olim Directorate, and all of the services that they provide, from answering your questions about employment and placement to medical ulpan. They represent a huge player in your process, and they'll be there that day too. Now, of course, many of you, if you've all registered for MedEx LA, you're also registered for the Aliyah Fair. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of friends. Maybe you have some friends that are attending the fair that would benefit from also coming to MedEx, whether it's for a child, for themselves, for a spouse. Let them know that you're going to be attending MedEx as well. Spread the word, and we'll be very happy to help them as well. Now, to get into the specifics of what you're going to need for everyone that's logged in is going to, as part of their process, apply to obtain an Israeli medical license. This is MedEx is for licensed medical professionals, for those people who their job description as a medical professional has an equivalency in Israel. These are the basics of what you're going to need to bring. And on our landing page, the same main page for MedEx LA that you've probably seen already a few times, and that we'll be sending out again in our summary email, we're going to have bespoke lists for each of these medical professions. So you'll have somewhere to reference, somewhere to know that I have a checklist of what I need to bring. And the more you can bring, the merrier. So that means your passport, of course, as your primary form of ID. All of your original documents. Now, I say original, I mean original. That means, you know, the plaque of your medical diploma that is probably hanging somewhere on your wall, whether in your home or office, or maybe in a dusty box in your attic. This means all of your original documents, as official and as original it could be brought. That's the ideal, plus a set of photocopies for those original documents. We'll have photocopiers and printers on site, but again, there will be a lot of people who might have forgotten to prepare photocopies ahead of time. So save yourself time from having to queue up and get the photocopy done there at MedEx, and try to bring as many original officials and photocopies as you can. Now, for everyone that has been told that they should be presenting documents, when you registered, you were asked if you're planning on making Aliyah somewhere between 1 and 2 years into the future. Presenting documents is for you. You'll be receiving, if you haven't already, a link to register for an appointment to present documents. And beyond that, if you're thinking about making Aliyah 3-4 years out plus, presenting documents might not be so relevant for you at this stage. Seeing the information, seeing already ahead of time what you need to plan is great. Presenting everything piecemeal or too far out can sometimes present some bureaucratic challenges. So really, if you're planning 1 to 2 years making Aliyah, please go ahead and register for a licensing appointment to present your documents, prepare the documents. One of the documents is a questionnaire form, which you will have a link to complete. Fill it out, download it to your desktop as it will prompt you to do so, print it, and then bring it with you with the rest of your documents. Now, for those who are physicians here, doctors with a recognized specialty, who know that they need to petition the IMA, the Israeli Medical Association, to have your specialty recognized, now is the best opportunity to already open up an application. We're going to get into that, about how one opens up an application with the IMA and uses their online portal. But it's a process that takes significantly longer than applying to obtain a medical license from the Ministry of Health. The IMA themselves will be represented at the MedEx LA, and you'll have an opportunity to meet with them. For those of you that take advantage of opening up a IMA application already, if you haven't, and have started uploading as many documents as they prompt you to do so, it will make any meeting you have with the representatives likely more efficient, likely more helpful, because once they can see what you have to present, they can give you an indication maybe of what can help your case that will be presented for peer review in order to determine your specialty requirements once you actually arrive, obtain your license, and begin the process. We'll get into the specifics of specialty recognition at the end of the presentation. I don't want to scare away all of the other non-physician medical professionals that are logged on today. So again, bring as much as you can. You'll see the lists, and if you have any questions, of course, please be in touch with us. We can go over each and every profession. We're experienced in working with all of the licensed medical professions, and we're happy to help you navigate the process. Now, when it comes to applying to obtain an Israeli medical license, generally it takes about 3 months. So take MedEx, add a few months. We're already getting into like the holidays of Passover. Generally, you should start to hear back already from the Ministry of Health regarding the status of your petition to obtain an Israeli medical license. You'll notice on almost all the professions that they're going to ask for something called a letter of good standing. Because MedEx is just around the corner and a lot of your intended dates of Aliyah are a bit further out, we're talking 6 months plus for those of you who are planning on making Aliyah in the near-ish future. Don't worry about scrambling to get it, but just a word about what it is. For those of you that don't know, most medical boards, most state authorities that regulate licensing have some kind of a form, either one that is available for download by the applicant, or ideally that you can ask the medical board to submit directly to the Israeli Ministry of Health, that simply states that you have a license, that it's in good standing, that it is valid. It's usually a very short summary like that. It's a requirement that everyone present one. This is the kind of thing that you can get in a close and seal envelope, but it's so much easier for a couple of different reasons, bureaucracy and efficiency, to just ask that it be submitted directly to the Ministry of Health. We're going to have information about where it needs to be sent, how it needs to be sent, but just keep in mind that that's what it is. It's coming from the state medical board or regulating authority for licenses. Now, if you're applying for a permanent Israeli medical license, that's pending your Aliyah. A lot of people get the impression that they'll come to MedEx and leave that day with a medical license. It's not exactly so. The ideal place we'd like to get all of our applicants, all of our Olim that we work with, is that they have been approved to obtain their Israeli medical license pending their Aliyah. What that means in short is that you'll have arrived in Israel, you've relocated to Israel, with the status of Oleh, for those of you who are eligible to make Aliyah, or returning resident, whatever it may be, if you're already an Israeli citizen or not eligible to make Aliyah. And upon arrival, you'll be eligible to apply for an Israeli national ID card, Teudat Zehut, as well as the paper fold-out that comes with the extra information called the Sefach, the addendum. Those submitted to us, together with paying an online licensing fee, will mean that you'll be able to get your license in due time, usually no more than a couple of weeks, to allow the bureaucracy to all settle. But we want to get you to the place where between MedEx and your arrival, you're approved and ready to go upon arrival. For those of you who know that you'll need to be completing licensing exams, that could be done as a tourist. We'll get into the specifics of that, and we have lists available, like I said, checklists of the things that need to be completed online. And for most of you, especially who are physicians, probably already know that you'll have to complete the licensing exam. If you have any questions about whether you are required to do so, again, be in touch with us. We're a good resource to help analyze your situation and see what your requirements may be. Now, there are certain medical professions, OTs, physiotherapists, nurse practitioners, that will need to go through a process following their Aliyah with the Ministry of Education to get an equivalency recognized for their degrees. That's something that, again, we are here to help you with. It's an additional step, a required step by the Ministry of Health, but we're very happy to help you through that process as well, just to keep in mind that that is part of the process. Now, before we go into to more about the documents, just a word here on Hebrew. I know a lot of you might have questions about Hebrew. Do I need to prove it? What level I need of it? Just keep in mind that any working medical professional, private, public, you're going to probably have some interaction with exclusive Hebrew speakers. And think about just how much Hebrew you use on a day-to-day in your professional environments. How much English you use in your professional environments. That's going to be equivalent to the amount of Hebrew you might need to use. Some professions, psychiatry, psychology, the face-to-face interactions with patients in places that are not Anglo or other language family heavy, that might require more Hebrew than others. And there are some professions that the Ministry of Health requires that you present a formal proof of Hebrew proficiency. We're happy to answer your questions about what that looks like for each profession, what kind of proofs can be shown, whether it's ULPAN or some kind of course equivalency. We can answer on a case-by-case basis, and of course, each profession is a little bit different. A moment here also to refer back to our great friends at the Physicians Olim Directorate. They are the first stop to ask your questions about resources for learning medical Hebrew, Hebrew in general, what you can do now to prepare yourself for a successful integration as Olim in the medical field that you're in through working Hebrew. They're the first stop, and you'll be getting their contact information in an email from us together with the rest of the information from today. Now, when you go to the MedEx LA page, you're going to see that, like I mentioned earlier, we have each of the medical professions that we most commonly meet at MedEx that represent all of your professions, we hope. And if not, we'll be able to answer, let's say your medical profession doesn't appear here. Send us an email. We'll send you the list. We guarantee that there is a list, and you will be able to get it before MedEx and to best prepare yourselves. But here are the ones that we have prepared ahead of time. This is available on the MedEx Los Angeles page that I'm sure you've seen before and that you'll be getting a link to. Click through, and you're going to see checklists for each of the for the professions, so you know what to prepare. Prepare as much as you can ahead of time, and the more you bring, the merrier. Now, just a note here, this is a very recent update from the Ministry of Health. They have now exempted any applicants from abroad needing to present passport photos. So if you see anywhere in the literature that you need to bring passport photos with you, you don't. It's just one thing that you can keep at home, save till later if it's part of your process with Aliyah, but you don't need to bring it with you to MedEx. Now, I mentioned original documents, taking the diploma off the wall. This is what it looks like. Each and one of these physicians and other medical professionals, they took their MD diplomas, they took their graduation certificates, they got an IKEA bag, they went to the dollar store, they wrapped it up in bubble wrap, and they got on the plane with the thing. It is a hassle. I assure you it's probably easier for most of you to bring it to LA than it is to bring it to Israel. But you'll bring it and we'll take care of the rest. So we have options to babysit your framed documents, so you don't have to lug it around, so you can actually enjoy your day. It's supposed to be a fun day as well. Bring it with you, have a great story, have a great photo op, and maybe you can be one of these happy now Israeli doctors in the early parts of their planning process. A note on Army service. Now, again, I'll bring up Efrat's department at the Ministry of Health. They're really a fantastic resource for asking your questions. A lot of you might already have an inkling of whether or not you might be obligated to serve in the military based on your age and family situation, or whether, if you're a doctor or a dentist, or you might specifically know that you have an obligation but don't want to serve, or that you very much do want to serve even though you're exempt because of your age or family situation. The Ministry of Aliyah can be very helpful in helping act as liaison between you, the medical professional, doctor or dentist, and the IDF in terms of finding a situation that works best for you. But as a rule of thumb, and we have this available on our website too, here are just a general outline of what you might expect in terms of the on-the-book rule of whether or not you have an obligation to serve in the Israeli military. Now, a few things to note. Again, a lot of this can be done well ahead of time, especially for those of you that are going to be applying to the IMA for specialty recognition, and we'll get into that in our final slides today. The earlier, the better in most cases. If you're planning on making Aliyah really within 1 to 2 years, which is a lot of time, hopefully, to prepare the rest of your Aliyah needs, open up your application with the IMA, attend MedEx. You're already in the right way. The fact that you're registered and will be attending MedEx, you can get to the point where you've been approved to attain an Israeli license pending Aliyah. For those specialists, you have a decision letter in terms of your requirements to get recognized for your specialty. We can get you to the point where all you need to do is, with our assistance and with our partners' assistance at the Ministry of Aliyah, secure a position and begin your life as working medical professionals and Olim Chadashim. Whatever you can bring to MedEx is great. Like I said, there isn't huge pressure to get your letter of good standing together in time for MedEx. You might need to reapply anyway if your Aliyah is more than half a year out, depending on your situation. Speak with us. We'll tell you whether or not it's totally necessary based on your situation and how best to apply for it from your state's medical board. Take a look at those lists, use those as a reference, keep it next to your suitcase while you're packing so you don't forget to bring that one document that's important. And, again, we're happy to help you figure out what exactly you need to bring. Now, for the doctors in attendance on the Zoom today, I'm just going to take a big picture moment to look at what your process looks like. We've already discussed that everyone will need to apply for their licensure from the Ministry of Health. Many of you, most of you probably, will also have the additional step of applying to the IMA to open up an application to have your specialty recognized. What that looks like is this simple flow chart we put together. First of all, you'll be opening up an online application through the IMA's new portal. It's an all digital asset that allows you to be able to submit your documents digitally. It's a larger amount of documents than to apply for Ministry of Health licensure, given that from graduation to specialty training, there's a lot more involved procedurally. So, you want to get together as much as you can. And again, we encourage you to open up that application, upload as much as you can ahead of time so that if you take the opportunity to meet with the IMA, which is a very unique opportunity for interface. Most people who are applying for specialty training might not get the opportunity to speak with an IMA representative in person. So get as much as you can get done ahead of time so that you're coming ready to MedEx in the best case scenario. Once all of your documents have been submitted to the portal, then what will take place is that the IMA will indicate once you've sent off your application, and I'll give you just a sneak preview into what the application looks like once you actually do log in. Once everything is completed and you have clicked submit and they've received your application, the IMA will start to organize your case for presentation to a committee review of your peers, that is your Israeli peers in your specialty. They take place at varying intervals and frequencies of the year, depending on availability. These peers are coming on a volunteer basis to review your file, but they will review everything. And the IMA is very specific in making sure that everything is reviewed on a case-by-case individual basis. So they're going to be asking for everything, and they're not going to present your file until they feel satisfied that everything that should be there is there, because I'm sure they have reviewed your specialty in the past and they know what your peers will expect to recommend that you be board certified in Israel. The decision letter will come back, and they will you'll receive in that decision letter what your requirements will be. For most of you that are logged on today, it will be just the requirement of doing hatama. And for those of you who haven't heard that term, maybe you've heard the term that has now been phased out of use, which is histaklut, or an observed work period as a specialist. This is time where usually between 1 to 6 months, although generally we see closer to 2 to 3 month obligation, where you're working in your specialty at an Israeli hospital with your Israeli peers for a twofold process. One, simply just becoming more familiar with Israeli medical hierarchies, with the different medical system, and with the language, of course, getting your feet wet in what's like to work as a specialist here in Israel in your specific specialty at an Israeli hospital. In addition, it's an opportunity to make an impression with your peers that you're going to be working with in real time, showing them that you are a specialist who has the on-the-ground experience, not the distant armchair experience, that they can make a strong recommendation for you to the IMA, who will then return it to the Ministry of Health, who then issues you your board certification. So it kind of goes from one to the other. It's only 4 bubbles, but trust me, it takes a long time. So the sooner you can begin an application, the better. A little preview, as I promised, into what that looks like. You'll be getting a link to this in an email from us, and it's available on our website as well. Once you go to the IMA's website, you'll click on New User. For those of you who have not interacted with this portal before, New User, and then click New Request. For those of you that are double, triple, quadruple certified as specialists, please open up a new request that is separate for each of your specialties. You'll have to re-upload the same documents, but really if it's all organized on your computer, it won't take that long to do. And each of your requests for specialty recognition will be taken under consideration by a different committee of your peers for that specialty. So like I said, there are more available volunteers to do so they meet more frequently, some meet less frequently. That's why we say that overall the process tends to average to be long. So come with us, come at us with your questions over email, speak with us at MedEx, and we can tell you how to get this process moving quicker for your benefit, for your Aliyah's benefit. And that is it. I hope that I addressed most of what we need to discuss here. You can get in touch with us by that email address that you'll be receiving as well. We're very excited to see you at MedEx. And now we'll take some time with Allison, Associate Director of our program at the International Medical Aliyah Program, to address some of the questions that have been asked in the chat box and address any other questions that tend to come up with most MedExes.
Yeah, great. First of all, thank you very much, Joey. This has been very informative. I wanted to bring up a couple of questions that we've gotten by email ahead of the webinar. So first of all, we got a question about how long is the Hatama. As Joey explains in brief, the Hatama is generally between 1 and 6 months, but it really does vary based on your situation, based on your residency track, based on what you've done clinically over the years. And it really is hard to look at your peers for an example of what to expect, meaning you could be a gastroenterologist, your friend could be a gastroenterologist, and he might get assigned 6 months and you might get assigned 4 months. So it really is something that is looked at on a case-by-case basis by the IMA. Something that also came as a question is about residency makeup time. That's something I don't want to get into too much in depth, but what they're asking about is basically for specialties where the residency time is markedly shorter in the United States or Canada than Israel. Do you have to make up the difference in time? For example, if your specialty is in pediatrics, that residency tends to be about 3 years in the States and it's 4 years in Israel. If you've been practicing for 25 years in pediatrics, nobody cares that you're missing that year. But if you're making Aliyah right out of residency or pretty soon after residency, that's something that I'll encourage you to chat with us ahead of MedEx just to know what to expect. That being said, there are many people who have done it. It's not as scary as it sounds. And therefore, I just want you to have it in your mind, if that is the decision that you get from the IMA, that you do have residency makeup time to do, talk to us. We'll put you in touch with somebody who's been there, done that. It's not as scary as it sounds. Joey, I wanted to throw this question to you. Somebody asked about finding work above the retirement age. As we all know, there are going to be a lot of hospitals and medical centers on-site recruiting at MedEx available to talk to you, a network about your career in Israel. What does that look like for somebody who might be on the older end or just past retirement age?
Well, those numbers that Bituach Leumi give for retirement age seem like hard and fast rules for men and women alike. But it's not so. For those of you that come and open up an application to transfer your credentials to Israel before the retirement age, you arrive and you reach retirement age, it is sometimes about when you start the process and not when you finish it. Beyond that, though, a lot of you might have a really in-demand specialty. Now, that doesn't mean that you're the most highly trained or highly experienced, but sometimes there is a hospital that is out there that is looking specifically for you. I'll mention specifically, we're familiar with a huge need for pathologists in this country, and also Efrat from the Ministry of Aliyah mentioned that as well. So if you happen to know that there is a hospital that is maybe already getting in touch with you, or that you speak with at MedEx saying that we are looking for someone in your case, age is not necessarily going to be the limiting factor. They could petition the Ministry of Health to make an exception for you. Now, there are other ways to get around employment in terms of retirement age, where you don't have to work necessarily at a fully public institution. There are private hospitals, urgent care facilities, and other ways to work at least part-time, even past retirement age. But there is, again, no hard and fast exceptions just based on number alone. Be in touch with us, be in touch with the Ministry of Aliyah at their Physicians Olim Directorate, and we'll help you hopefully find the opportunity that fits your situation.
Okay, perfect. I just saw a question about, is today's recording going to be shared? Yes, we will be sending out an email over the next day or two with a link to the recording for this webinar in case you missed it, in case you wanted to review it. In addition, I do know that the link for physician's appointments is full. We are opening more appointments as we speak, and the link for that will be sent out as well. I do encourage you to send us an email at medpro@nbn.org.il to give us a heads up that you are still looking for an appointment. By the way, there are a couple of people who've approached us about submitting documents on behalf of somebody else, whether it's a friend that can't make it or whether it's another medical professional in your family. Maybe you're both doctors, but only one of you is attending, or one is a dentist and one is a physical therapist. Please register each person as if they are attending MedEx, and please register each person for a medical licensing appointment, even if only one person is actually submitting documents.
Wonderful. Do we have any other
Let's
unanswered
see,
questions
any
in the
other
Q&A?
questions? Don't see anything left. If your question did not get answered or you didn't get a chance to ask your question, please feel free to email us. You want to chat, set up a phone call or a Zoom ahead of MedEx, we are happy to do so. We will be sending out all the links that Joey mentioned in the email, the links to the documents, checklist, circle back to the landing page to check and see what medical centers and hospitals will be there to speak with you. Please bring your documents, as Joey said, your actual original real documents. And if you are still thinking about Aliyah, you're not sure about Aliyah, you're not ready to present documents, we still hope to see you at MedEx. It's a really good opportunity to explore what Aliyah as a medical professional could look like for you. Joey, thank you very much. Everybody who's joined us, thank you very much for your time, and we will see you in Los Angeles.
Yeah, MedEx.